Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at onpurposely.com.
Welcome to the Gospel Tech Podcast, a resource for parents who feel overwhelmed and outpaced as they raise healthy youth in a tech world. As an educator, parent, and tech user, I want to equip parents with the tools, resources, and confidence they need to raise kids who love God and use tech. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gospel Tech Podcast. My name is Nathan Sutherland, and this podcast is dedicated to helping families love God and use tech. Today, we are in for a What the Tech episode.
Yes, sir.
And Micah is here in studio again.
Wow.
Yes, I know this is 3. This is like a tradition now.
Yeah.
We're going places. So, Micah, today we are keeping ever on the cusp of the preeminent topics parents are asking about. I mean, we've talked gamer rage, we've talked about esports, and now we're talking about games as service.
Yeah, the funny new term in the gaming world.
Yeah, which what does that even mean? Give me like 2 sentences.
The game that is a game as a service is Fortnite, and basically what it means is you keep paying for the game after you've bought it.
Boom. So parents, that's really what we want to talk about today. Is we wanted you to know that's a thing. Second is we want to help you see what that means, so that when you're talking to your kiddo and they are using words, you can know what it means. So to take a quick step back, we talk a lot about tool tech and drool tech. Tool tech helps us create. Drool tech helps us consume. That's not good and bad. They're just designed differently because tool tech is designed to help you accomplish your goals, and drool tech is designed to help accomplish its own goal. So the example I like to use is word processors. You go and use a word processor. You have the goal of writing a story. It doesn't have another goal for you. It doesn't tie you in with social media. It doesn't tell you about how so-and-so down the street has a much better story than yours. It doesn't give you likes or follows. It just writes a story, saves a story. You can share it, edit it, etc. Drool tech, on the other hand, wants to take your time, your focus, and your money. And the reason that's important is games as service, while it's a wonderful process to make money as a company, it can be a drool tech tool to increase engagement. And that engagement can go sometimes beyond the realm of even like, I'm doing this because I have fun, or I'm doing this because I want to. It can cross into, I feel like I need to now. And we start giving up stuff we actually need to pursue stuff we want. And that's an unhealthy combo. You don't want to swap your needs for wants. That's kind of the base level for addiction, is when you start giving the things you need, like sleep or relationships or future opportunities for something you want. So, Micah, you mentioned Fortnite. Where do we see game as service in Fortnite or games like that?
Well, for one, it is one of the most financially successful games in history, and it's free.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last I saw, it made $5.5 billion in a year.
Yeah.
Is that still roughly what it's pulling out? I think that was 2020.
Something like that.
Okay. How in the world does a free-to-play game make $5.5 billion?
The same way games have for way before this, and a little bit of new tech. The same way most games make their money if they're free-to-play is skins. So
what does that even mean, skins?
So you just have a generic, boring character. You can pay money, whether it's in-game currency you earn, currency you can buy, or both, to buy like a different outfit or an entirely different character to play as. In Fortnite's case, there's such a big like conglomerate that they have like anime collabs and like Marvel and Star Wars characters that you could play as. You can play as Goku versus Darth from Dragon Ball Z versus like Darth Vader versus Iron Man and Spider-Man and all this crazy
Do
stuff.
those change how the game plays for you then?
Not at all. It's all cosmetics. It's just how you look.
So skins are cosmetic.
Yes.
Why in the world would someone spend real world money to buy their video game character an outfit?
Because it's fun. If you're playing a game for a long time, you want to like what you're looking at.
Okay.
And if you're just some boring, generic, human-looking guy in like military olive drab, who cares when you can be like neon red, like glowing suits with like a flaming skull and stuff? Because that looks cooler.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of like why we buy a lot of the clothes we purchase, right? Like it's somewhat of what we like, so it's expressing that. It's somewhat how we align. So I dress this way. I'm more like those people than these people.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, like there's this flex component to it,
Yeah.
right? Like why
I mean-
would you wear a $200 pair of sneakers when a $50 pair is really nice?
I mean, if you want to talk about that, there's literally a Balenciaga Fortnite collab where you get skins in game only if you buy the like $900 jean jacket that just says Fortnite on the back.
There it is.
Yeah.
We've officially broke the meta. That, my friends, is reality collapsing around our ears. But, so parents, what we need to know about this, we do have this concept of the game as a service where we can have what are also called microtransactions.
Yes.
And they're called that because you can either pay like a monthly subscription, which is the service side, but the microtransaction side comes in when you purchase skins or other items.
Yeah, they give you the option to like buy the in-game currency,
Okay.
and it ranges anywhere from like $5 to like $100, and that gives you different amounts of currency which you can buy with more things.
And by the way, I just checked 2020 revenue for Fortnite, 5.8 billion.
Yes.
So the previous year was 5.5. So
Yes.
that's billion with a B for a singular game that is free to play. So we're talking about something that is prevalent, relevant, and setting the stage where other companies, which desire to make money, are going to say, hey, we could sell this game for $50 a pop, give them everything they need to play the game, or we could sell the Battle Pass. So explain to us what a Battle Pass is.
A battle pass. So games have seasons now that can
Yes.
range anywhere from like a month, multiple months, and during that time you have a like level up system. So as you play the game, you gain experience to level up. You need a certain amount of experience to go to the next level. You get that by winning, getting kills, doing side objectives, daily objectives, stuff like that.
Right.
And everyone gets the free battle pass, which like every 4th or 5th level you get something. Not always a skin, maybe it's just a little XP boost, some in-game cash. But the big thing everyone wants from battle passes is skins. But there's a paid battle pass. Every season there's a new one. Every season it's $10. And you get the free stuff from the free tier of the battle pass and the stuff from the top tier, the stuff you pay for. Every level gets you something with the paid battle pass. There's way more skins. There's like gun skins as well. Make your guns look different. Make the pickaxe you use look different.
Right.
And at the end, at level 100, there's always like the big like crossover. Like last season, it was Doctor Strange. This time it's Spider-Gwen from the Spider-Verse. Stuff like that. So it's basically a way to cement at least constant revenue every few months or so with the new Fortnite season.
And for the player, there's this feeling of value add because you're getting what would have cost you hours and hours and hours to earn on your own. And you're getting these. And when you do invest the hours and hours, you're assured to get some cool kickback.
Yes. Eventually, the more you play, the more cool things you get.
So could you go to a previous season and earn those skins now?
Nope. The only way to get previous skins is for them to show up in the store.
Okay.
And the store only has like, I think 10 or so things available, and it refreshes like every day.
Right.
So it's not gambling, but you kind of just have to wait.
It's not, it's working on that variable reward. It's a reason to show up, a reason to check.
Yeah, it's a reason to boot up the game and at least check. And while I'm here, I might as well play a couple of games.
It's not clever.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's been a thing forever, but I know at least now you can also just buy levels in the battle pass.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah. So
That has not been a thing forever, no.
Yeah. So if you wanted to just like, oh, I'm one level away from this skin, but I really want it, you can just pay.
And there's only a day left in the season or whatever.
Yeah. Or if you can be like one of my friends and just buy all 100 levels and just complete the battle pass instantly and get all the cool stuff immediately.
Oh, it's the Diablo Immortal all over again.
Yes, sir. And the main thing that's worrying about this is a lot of the big games that are multiplayer have a battle pass now. Call of Duty has it, Battlefield has it, Destiny 2 has it, Overwatch 2 is going to have it.
Yeah.
Like mobile games have battle passes, Fall Guys has a battle pass.
Yeah, so let's talk about that concern, because at the end of the day, like this, it makes sense from like an outside perspective. Like you're using this service regularly, you pay for this service. What is the concern with ongoing payments for a game service? What should a parent be aware of, or what should we as gamers be thinking about as the market clearly is going to shift this direction? There's just too much money in it to not have this be the method that people are going to use for a while.
Well, for one, it can get expensive quick.
Yeah, you said $10 a month?
Yeah, 10 or $10 a season. It's multiple months. So
multiple months. So, but let's say it's every other month that a season lasts. So it's an 8-week season.
Yeah.
You're buying 60 of these things. So that's $60 you paid this year for that game.
Yes.
Assuming you didn't purchase anything else.
Yeah, assuming you only purchased the Battle Pass and didn't buy any old skins or skins that aren't in the Battle Pass that only show up in the shop, or any of these other things that you can buy. Because there's so many ways to spend money in these types of games. It's the same scam that like mobile games have been running for years. Just a little less predatory.
Which would be what? So like a Clash of Clans, I assume, is one you're thinking of.
Yeah, Clash of Clans is the first time I remember a game like charging me money to play it after I've already like paid for it. Clash of Clans is a free game. It's a game where you like build up an army and bases, you build walls, build buildings, build like defenses, and you can invade other people's places and all this. But you have an energy meter. And you have builders. So the energy meter, you can only do so much like raiding at a time before you have to stop and let the thing recharge, and you get like 1 or 2 energy points like every 15 minutes. So you could play for like 30 minutes and then realistically wait like 5 hours before you can play again.
Yeah.
Or you can use gems, which you get by raiding, but a very small amount. And you can also just buy them outright. And then builders, you have like 2 builders in your city, and you can only work on building 2 things at once, and building things takes real time. Like to upgrade your like main building, the thing that if it gets destroyed you lose. Once you get to like level like 5, it takes like days, like several days of just waiting.
So then you can pay real world money
to expedite that and just get it done instantly.
So if my kid can only play games, let's say like me growing up, I could only play a video game after my homework was done on a weekend. So I have Friday, Saturday, because Sunday's a school night. So I have 2 games or 2 nights during the week when I can play video games. So if I'm Saturday and I've run out of time to play this game because of my meters expired, or I only have 2 builders and they're both spoken for, I could just pay a little bit of cash.
Yes.
And effectively get another week's worth of play in.
Exactly.
Because it's going to be till next Friday till I can play again anyway. So what's $5 to me now? And
exactly.
I went from paying $60 a year to $65, and if I did that every weekend, right? Like it escalates quickly.
And that is a thing that is still pretty much exclusively a mobile game thing. But the concept of paying to expedite a process is still a thing in a lot of games today. Like Fortnite thing, because it does take a long time to level up, and if you wanted like the skin at the end of the battle pass, that's going to take a lot of hours of playing the game, and that's assuming you're good at it and can get a lot of XP and get a lot of wins.
Yeah. So then I'll take an aside here on this. So we understand now game of service means it's an ongoing payment to a game. It can be either literally for the service of I'm using your game, and instead of paying for it up front, I'm going to pay you a monthly rent to use this game.
Yeah, that's what like MMOs do, like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14 and stuff.
Yes, and so parents, I will say off the front, I have firsthand experience on one of the downsides of that is the stress of knowing you've already paid for this game and the next payment is coming up. Forces you to. It's not that it forces you to play it, but it forces you to explain why you're not playing it.
Yes.
Right? If I own a game that I've already paid for and it's just sitting in a box versus I have a game that I know is going to cost me another $15 next month, I do feel this need to argue with myself on why I'm going to do the one instead of the other. And so just know that there is this real world weight of knowing this game isn't yours. There are added benefits. I mean, updates come out and they're released, and often they're free with the Battle Pass. So they're included with the Battle Pass, I'll say. They're not free with the Battle Pass. But they're not forcing you to purchase a $60 game and then pay a monthly fee. But sometimes they do. World of Warcraft does. You pay the full game price and the monthly opportunity to play it. So just know that that's one side, and know that with these come microtransactions. They already have your credit card info. You're already there. It's so easy and accessible. And know that this isn't an accident. This is behavioral training. And for my example, I will look to the book called Hooked. It's by Nir Eyal. And Nir does an awesome job of explaining. At the time, he was trying to explain how to get, how to help people create habit-forming products. He wouldn't use the term addictive because no one wants addictive, and also that word can be hotly contested. But the premise was he wants to help people with a good product, get people to use it without even thinking of it. How do you become a product that's just the go-to? And he breaks it down very simply. He says there's going to be a trigger. It's either internal or external. That can mean it's either a reminder, like a notification gets sent, or it's you're bored. So there's some motivation occurring. That's your trigger. When that trigger happens, you want to steer them to an action. You want them to do something. So in our case of Fortnite, since we've already used it, the child is bored, or the child has free time, or the child has a friend say, hey, let's play a game. We want them to play Fortnite. So how do we do that? Well, we have the shop set up so they come in and check it regularly. We have a monthly fee that reminds them that this is an ongoing thing. It can't be forgotten. It's showing up on a bank statement every month. We have ongoing daily challenges, weekly challenges, seasons that expire and that include your ranking with specialized skins that go on out there. And don't forget, by the way, there is still a game to be played. That there's still something to show up for that is fun in and of itself. So that's the action. We're going to go do this thing, and we're going to get what's called a variable reward. All they mean by that is that there's a reward, and we're not exactly sure what we're going to get. So yes, we know we're going to get the skin, but how many points am I going to get? How many wins am I going to get? Am I going to get a actual like solo dub? Am I going to join this and win it all by myself? For bragging rights, we're not exactly sure what the variable reward will be. It's not always even positive. Sometimes a loss is your variable reward from the game standpoint. Because if you lose, it drives you back to play again because you want to get better. You want to win next time. And all of that builds investment. And this is where I want parents for us to be aware. Building investment happens when we give them money and we give them our time and we give them our focus. That's building our investment. As adults, we know what we've built investment with. As kids, because we feel nostalgic about it. So we built investment with shows like TGIF, right? And we had the nostalgia of that specific time slot and those specific shows that may or may not have been that good, but we feel nostalgic for it. We have games that we remember fondly, even if we go back and play them now and they're not exciting, or movies we watched and we go back and, like me, where some of those movies I'm like, oh, I can't actually finish this. This is physically painful to me. But we invested in that, and that's what Nirayal is saying, because the next time that trigger happens, boredom, a friend asks, a notification comes, we are more likely to take that action because we've now invested our time, our focus, and our money in this thing. And it can get to the point where if you have a serious gamer in your life, or you know someone you could ask them if they've ever played a game, even though it wasn't fun anymore. And a serious gamer will have had this experience where we've played games past the point of enjoyment. And you go, why? And you're like, I was already so far in. Like, I might as well just keep playing it. And have you ever had this experience, Micah? Yeah. Like I definitely know I have. And so keep that in mind. Investment is what we're looking at. That is an engagement strategy that Games of Service is looking to capitalize on. Games like Clash of Clans, still very successful. And last year, 2021, they made $500 million off a free-to-play game. And this is a game that's been around for quite near a decade.
I was in like 5th grade when I first played it, and I'm almost 21 11? Now.
Yeah, so right around a decade.
Yeah.
So somewhere in that we could find that stat, but right around a decade, it's been going at a solid clip of $500 million a year. So Games as Service, the reason we want to note that is your kid can be spending real world money. In doing so, it might be a perfectly good value add. Like if you let your kid buy nice sneakers because it'll impress their friends, maybe buying a skin in game makes sense. just know that you've talked it out. I'm encouraging you parents to have that conversation of where is our limit? How do we know what's worth purchasing?
Yeah.
These games are not looking out to help your child be a discerning consumer. They're just looking to help your child consume. And that's consume the game, consume the items, consume the culture of the game. And I would argue that many times that is not going with the spirit that Christ is asking for us to have, one of contentment and one of joy and one of satisfaction. It instead is driving us into the kind of the death spiral of
just consumerism,
just wanting more.
Yeah.
And of never enjoying the game because it's a game, but enjoying the game because this is how I'm going to get that next thing. And at the end of the day, like that breaks the point of game. Like game in general, for as far back as humans have been playing them, which is quite a while, the idea is it's competitive. It has a goal and it has a basic set of rules. So the rules are you can do this, you can't do that. And that's true in baseball or in Cube, which is that Norse block tossing game, or bocce or pickleball, or right in any sport or competition. There's chess, there's rules, there's a competition. It's usually us against another person or team of people. In computer world, we can go against trained computers and programs. And there's some kind of a goal. We're trying to be the first one to eliminate the other team, or the first one to score this many points, or take an objective. This game of service almost adds a layer to that, where the player becomes part of the game. And the company, instead of the point being have fun with your friends, the point is, how long can we keep you here, even if you don't want to stay? And so games of service is concerning for that reason, parents, because it can be an unfair fight. A 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old brain is not set up to delineate what a billion or sometimes $1 trillion company has as its ulterior motive, which is why, has Blizzard Activision happened yet, by the way?
Not yet. It's still going through.
It's still looking. But that's why that's such a huge conversation. You have a massive video game creating studio being purchased by a $1 trillion company who's looking to make a game as service process. So they are looking to do online. Oh my goodness. How do I explain that? The online version of like a Stadia. Where the games are hosted online, you don't own the system. You lease basically.
Yeah, it's basically like renting an Xbox digitally, kind of.
Yeah. So you log in. So instead of owning the Xbox, you'd log into their online server, and instead of buying the game in person,
you stream them.
You stream them. Yes, and the quality's not there yet. We talked about this previously. Like it's not competitive at all with an actual hardware, static system, but
it's gonna get there eventually.
It will, and they're dumping billions and billions of dollars into this happening. So this is what we're seeing as the future of gaming. For better or worse, I think there's still going to be a niche for people that like to own a game, to have the game.
Yeah. But there is less and less people who care about like even just owning a physical copy of a game.
Yeah.
Because it's inconvenient to take out one disc and put in another.
Yeah. You download it to a hard drive currently.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do is you purchase the game, you never actually own a CD or anything. It just downloads to your device, automatically downloads updates and, firmware and whatever else needs to happen, DLCs that may come out.
Yeah.
So parents, to review, we're talking about games as service, which means the game is no longer a one-time purchase. There's ongoing purchases, which might be a battle pass, like a monthly subscription that, or a bi-monthly subscription, but a season of time that is used also as part of the behavioral training, because when it resets, so do your levels and your ranks. If you're playing a game with ranked play, like a League of Legends would be an example of that. So that there's the battle pass side. There's also microtransactions, which we discussed really two kinds. We talked about you can buy things like skins, which are purely cosmetic. They change the way you look, but not the way you play. Or you can go into like the pay-to-win model, where the game is actually leveraging your desire to be a part of the game against your ability to be a part of the game. So Clash of Clans being one of the preeminent examples. They're going to limit how many turns you get and make you wait real-world time, or you could pay a little bit of real-world money and progress in the game that way. And I mentioned offhand Diablo Immortal, which has become like the meme of all of this.
Yeah, someone did the thing, and if you paid for all the microtransactions that they kind of want you to pay for to like level up and like cosmetics and stuff, it'd be like $100,000.
Right. And that's
that is an extreme example, I will say.
It is extreme, and it's
like not even like Fortnite, the game who's like started this whole trend towards microtransactions is that bad.
Yeah, no,
it's not that bad. Good Lord.
Made, I mean, it's why it's become a meme. It was made with specific what you'd call a whale player in mind. That there's this very small niche group of players who love that genre of game and that studio, and they basically just buy it on site. And so that game made hundreds of thousands of dollars, even though most people, and you can't earn, that's a big piece. You can't earn the credits to get there. Some of those things are purely locked behind paywalls. And so,
that is a purely toxic example of it. Most games are not anywhere near that.
No, I went to that extreme because companies don't have a reason not to do that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it got so much backlash and so much hate online, and yet still made a lot of money.
Right. And it's for most of these companies, while we love to believe that there are still game design studios that have souls and are in there for the process of game, like they're still making game at the end of the day.
It's just becoming
money grabs.
It is becoming less and less prevalent in big studios.
Right.
The like desire to create creative experiences that you experience, and not creative games that you experience as a way to pay more money.
Right. It's not just all about the hook and getting you to replay this piece. So I think in conclusion on this one, parents, what we want you to be able to do is go to your child and talk to them about their games. Now, I say go to your child and talk about their games. This is assuming your kid is playing a video game. And that assumes a lot. So let's take a quick step, and I'll just address this as well. If your child is playing video games, I'm assuming that you have talked to them about their video games. And you've looked at if this game is safe for them, meaning does it have access to the internet? Do they play with strangers? What are they getting into content-wise? You've made that conversation and said, yes, we agree this system is a good choice for our family in this season. It meets your family expectations. So when your child is bringing the system into your house, this new technology is a fit for what you want to see your family do. Whatever those expectations are, however you gauge us. I always encourage Philippians 4:8 because it's a wonderful list of just how we can gauge the things we consume and set our hearts and minds on. Then we're also making sure it lines up with our child's potential and their goals. So something can be really fun, it can be perfectly safe, but it can be not the right season or a bad fit for the other things we want to accomplish in life. There's lots of things I'd love to do. I just can't justify putting my resources and my time into it, even though they're not morally wrong. So I'm assuming you've had that piece, and then you've looked at the game itself. So if you looked at Fortnite, you've actually talked through what Fortnite is with your kid. You know what it looks like. You've Googled it. So you have some idea. If you haven't, by the way, go to esrb.org, the Entertainment Software Review Board, the group that Micah has spoken ill against for the for the letter on the box. They at least do a very nice job. If you go there, look up the game, you just type in the title and enter. In that paragraph, they'll tell you exactly what's in the game. They'll tell you the swear words, they'll tell you the types of violence, they'll tell you a general plot, and it at least lets you look beyond the sticker on the outside and allows you then to converse with your child about your expectations and standards, which is what I'm trying to empower you to do. So I hope you can feel that. So that's the assumption here is you've done that. Now with games of service, make sure you talk to your kiddo as they're going. If they start expressing anxiety or stress about, man, mom and dad, I'm not getting enough time on this game, dig into that because it's probably not about time per se. It's either the levels are too intense that I'm not getting far enough. I can't play with my friends as much as I'd want. I feel this anxiety. This game is constantly slipping away from me or getting ahead of me, and I'm not actually enjoying it as a game anymore. It's kind of driving me. Or it might just be that, yeah, there's some fun stuff to do, and they would like to do it more often. I think we all have fun things we like that we'd like to do more. So do talk to your child about the games as service, what is available in that game. Oh, we didn't talk about like the super toxic FIFA example where the gambling aspect actually comes in.
Oh, yeah.
We should do that.
Probably should.
The parents are things called loot boxes. They've only been banned in one country, as that I'm aware of, Belgium, right? Is that the only?
I think a couple more European countries, but yeah, they are gambling. There's no way around it. Some games have like other ways around it, but they are essentially, instead of buying these skins outright, You just pay for a box for a chance to get these skins, and you can get repeats. It's almost no different than slots.
It is slots, yes.
Yeah, they are becoming less and less prevalent because of the heat that they generated during their height of them being basically literally just gambling.
Yeah.
So they're becoming less and less popular and moving more towards the battle pass and that kind of way of buying the skins outright. The battle pass is like a response to the US government threatening to get involved with regulating monetization of games like that.
Yeah.
So it is becoming less and less of a thing, but CS:GO still does it, FIFA still do it. It is a thing that you can run into in games still.
Yeah, and so just to be perfectly clear what that is, there's an item you want. So in FIFA, my favorite example would be there's some tier 1 player who's amazing and you want to go play his team. So you go buy the game, you're playing the game, but that player's not on your team. He doesn't get on your team until you purchase this opportunity to open up new players. So you might pay $5 for the silver level game or characters, and it'll give you 3 cards, and it'll give you X% to get that player that you want. But as Micah mentioned, there can be repeats. So you could do this 3 times and pay $15 and get the same player twice is an option.
These are more called like gotcha mechanics. They're no different than like the capsule toy machines you see.
Right.
Where you put in 2 quarters and you get a random plastic ball with like a rubber ninja in it or something, and you really want the red one.
Yes.
But you got the purple one. So it's like, oh, I'll put in like 2 more quarters. It's the exact same concept, just for like in the like FIFA players, like you really want Messi or something.
Yes.
You're gonna have to like get a few packs before you get him, or a lot of packs, because it's gambling. It's just odds.
Yeah, and it is playing with a mechanic that is popular in games. Loot drops are a real thing in a lot of games. Destiny 2 does this very well, where you'll beat a boss and you'll get a % chance of some rare item dropping, and you'll just have to spam that boss till you get it. And I've seen things where someone beat a boss. They played him 30, 40 times, and we're talking 3 to 6 hours depending on the boss and the level that goes with them, because you can't just start at a boss. You have to beat the whole level again.
Yeah.
And so you do that 30 plus times for a single weapon drop. That could be very disheartening, but you didn't pay real world money for it. Like you still were leveling up, you were still with your friends, you were still playing the game. This is just cutting out the middleman of the actual play and getting right to the loot drop opportunity, and you're just paying money to pull the lever. So I'm glad we remembered that.
Yes.
Parents, I hope what you take away from this is games should remain games. When you look at the games your child play, they should be fun, they should be challenging, they should have a goal, and they should have a clear ending.
Yes.
Games of service can be convoluted. It is very lucrative for studios. We like it when people who make good games make money. That's excellent. This can be a little manipulative, so do keep an eye on that drool tech, taking more of your child's heart and attention than you want. Have these open conversations with your kiddo, and then know that there are practices set in place to kind of circumnavigate your good decision-making and help your child feel the pressure to spend those monies. And I would add, what would I add? Hold on. There was one more thought, and it's gone. But just know that microtransactions aren't...
They're not inherently bad.
That's where I was headed.
And like buying skins for a game isn't like horrible.
No,
it's fun. You want, if you like play a certain character in a game and they have a cool skin, if you really like that character, you want them to look cool.
Yeah,
that's not bad. But like something, it's recurring. Like there's always more to get. There's always more skins, other stuff. That's when it starts to get predatory and weird.
And having that conversation with your child of, hey, why do you want this? How much do you think is reasonable to spend on this game each month? How much are you willing to put of your money into this, right? Like, are you willing to accept this as a gift that we can give you? You can, by the way, purchase gift cards for video games. Roblox does it.
Fortnite does it.
So that's an option if you want to do that. Or do you want your child to say, hey, like this game needs to be fun. Like whatever games we play, they're fun and they can be put away because we don't want that added pressure of investment. And now I feel bad walking away from this game, just like any other player who has 1,000 hours on a game is going to have a hard time deleting that game because you're just so far in at that point, it feels like it's part of you. And by the way, parents, I would argue it is a little bit of them. Like you can't ever get those 1,000 hours back. That's now invested. That's part of who you've become. And we want to be intentional I guess, walking into that with our eyes open, knowing we're investing our time here. That means this thing now has some value, and we will feel tied to it, whether we think that's fair or not. So, closing thoughts, Micah, on this?
Yeah, I mean, just the game, above all else, should be enjoyable.
Yeah.
If that means putting money into it, that isn't immediately a bad thing, but it can become a slippery slope very quickly, especially now because it's just such a new concept that it's still changing.
Yeah.
What we said could be different like 2 or 3 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah, this could be one that doesn't age well. But for this conversation in this season, do go in eyes open, parents. If your kids are playing games because you've had those conversations, you should be in those games with them. You should ask them to show you about the game, to teach you how to play that game, and then to play it together, even if it makes you motion sick, because your child is going there, and their presence means that thing now has value to you. So you don't have to do it all the time, but you do need to be present with them in the process. And I hope this conversation helped you think through that intentionally. You can join us next time as we have another What the Tech, talking about who knows what we'll come up with. And you can continue to listen to the Gospel Tech podcast coming out on Tuesdays as we continue this conversation about how we can love God and use tech.